Frick. Folks, I have no idea how this is going to go today. I've been struggling. To even communicate. I happen to make it out to my folks' property, and they're out there working hard, working circles around me, and it's actually been quite telling as to how dysfunctional I've become, whether it's this Lyme disease, whether I'm being targeted. I don't mean to be all conspiratorial about everything, but it has been alarming when you look into the monitoring and the direct frequency weapon known as 5G, how they could potentially target specific individuals with that level of warfare. It's no joke. It's pretty freaky stuff. Ultimately, it's healthy to do assessment, because ultimately I just say the same words over and over, don't I? I want us to maintain or develop the ability to hone in onto the very root issue as to what is dragging us down, what is ailing us, so we can address that and magnify our experience in this freaking existence. It's crucial. But I want to give a moment of praise. You know what? Let's kick off on IG first. I want to give a moment of praise to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and our loving Creator, because He showed up for me in a way I wasn't even expecting, and it wasn't planned. I just threw on a shirt. I ended up asking for prayer from my father, and that's saying a lot. Like, our relationships, it's beautiful, but we're a lot the same and we're a lot different, right? But that was a beautiful moment. And I'm so grateful for him. And I'm so grateful for his spiritual connection, because there was great breakthrough there. Feeling the fruit of the Spirit. God is there for us, folks. We just need to invite him into our hearts. Open that door. It's our greatest gift in this existence. It's one of the greater challenges too, because how do we continually rely on something we really can't grasp in this mortal existence when everything around us seems to be more tangible, more realistic in this state? But it's not just my father. Another warrior prayed for me, and let's just say it's touched my heart, and I'm so grateful. You know what? Welcome to a Muzzle Chat. So I am just grateful to be here with you today, all my flaws and all. Am I going to hit it out of the park today? Probably not. Am I more so relying on Janet and everything she put together? Yeah, pretty much. I'll admit it. I haven't even re-vetted. I've watched this sequel, I think 2 times over before, but I must say, we're starting to get into the good stuff. So bear with me, bear with her. Folks, she's no longer with us for a reason. She got too close for evil's comfort, that they had to take action. This is warfare. This is warfare. So my heart goes out to Janet. Rest in peace, hon. We appreciate all your hard work. But in lieu of the prayers and everything, I gotta give all glory to God. So we're gonna actually start today's episode with the Jesus Calling Daily Devotional. It is November 2nd, and it reads, "Grow strong in the light of my presence. Your weakness does not repel me. On the contrary, it attracts my power. Our weaknesses attract his power, which is available to flow into a yielding heart. Do not condemn yourself, for you constant for your constant. See, I'm telling you, I'm having one of those days. I'm as you can tell, even as of late, I've really even struggling. I'm saying the word even a lot. Reading has even become a struggle. That's why this level of warfare and everything we're trying to expose on this platform is so crucial, because I don't want any of you to lose your resilience. I want you to become the best version of you. And with all this silent warfare that's going on, if we don't start shifting the tide, I just believe more of us are going to end up mortally impacted, which is going to impact everything in this existence. So, to reread that, do not condemn yourself for your constant need of help. Instead, come to me with your gaping neediness. Let in the light of my love fill you. Let the light of my love fill you. A yielding heart does not whine or rebel when the going gets rough. It musters the courage to thank me even during hard times. I am trying my hardest to thank him in the midst of this struggle. Yielding yourself to my will is ultimately an act of trust in quietness, and trust in quietness and trust is your strength. I'm sorry, folks. That must have been awful painful. I genuinely, it's like I've been improving on reading in one hand, but with these flare-ups and Lyme disease, a bioweapon that was created by man, dating back to the Cold War, Plum Island, we've gone into all of that. Just read the book Bitten from Chris Newby if you want to know more on that. Lab 247. I mean, there's plenty of documentaries. The Monster Inside Me, The Quiet Epidemic, Under My Skin, all fantastic. Will really open your eyes on Lyme disease. That's just through ticks. Can you imagine what they've created through mosquitoes? What they've created through all these other things? Are you kidding me? And continually to this day, evil does not fight fair. And it sucks because it's really... we only touched on insects. We clearly seen what they've done with the medical system, weaponization of that, the weaponization of childhood vaccines, all vaccines, pharmaceuticals. Unbelievable, right? How have we been so blindly entrusting into this system, into the matrix? It's truly a blessing. It can be a hard pill to swallow at first, but what a great blessing to not perpetually be living under that delusion. The truth truly does set us free. And the greatest silver lining through it all is, for me and for a lot of individuals that are actually humbled and seek the bigger picture during all this, is that all roads lead to God, our loving creator God. They expose the roads people follow to the God of this existence that's here to kill, murder, deceive, and destroy. And you can see all of his minions. It's like you gain the discernment the more you just open your eyes to the spiritual warfare that's taking place before us. Our days are limited. And it really does feel more so than ever before. So I pray we engage in seeking understanding more and more each and every day. Well, there's 3 biblical references versus just challenging you to read them this time. They're good. Let's dive into them. We have Psalm 116. What is this? 5 through 7. This is the roadmap for us, folks. And this is just a rendition of the King James. It's NLT. I'd say get away from the Scofield Bible and all those ones that are manipulated by man to mislead us. Deceive just like the devil is here to do. 5 reads, how kind the Lord is, how good he is, so merciful, this God of ours. The Lord protects those of childlike faith. I was facing death and he saved me. Let my soul be at rest again, for the Lord has been good to me. It was only through 7. I mean, it continues. He has saved me from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from stumbling. And so I walk in the Lord's presence as I live here on earth. I believe in you. Wow. This is our roadmap. I can feel it. It's such a gift. I'm so grateful. I didn't think I'd be able to do anything today, to be honest with you, but here we are, stumbling through it together. Next biblical reference is Ephesians 5:20. States, and give thanks for everything. Wow, I struggle to read right now. And give thanks for everything to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. 100%. Lastly, we have Isaiah 30:15. And it reads, this is what this, now note, Isaiah is pre-Christ in the new covenant. So we talk a lot on Israel and how it's so egregiously taking out of context, as though the Israel of the Bible is the Israel of the day. Unbelievable. There's so much. Once again, evil's here to deceive, mislead, and destroy. So, yeah, it's just kind of note. But this states, this is what the sovereign Lord, the Holy One of Israel says. Only in returning to me and requesting in me will you be saved. In the quietness and confidence. In quietness and confidence is your strength. Sorry, I'm sitting here just pondering God's word, trying to absorb it, trying to apply it to me right in this current limited state. I challenge us all that there's truly more than anything else we could dive into. There's nothing more important than that there multitude of books. Okay, that being said, I hope Janet's work helps expose, doesn't overwhelm you, just helps expose why the world is the way it is, the impacts evil has had, and it essentially gives us the knowledge, the education, the information to protect ourselves, but also show up for one another and more so create solutions to this fallen world we're living in, and minimally bringing more souls to salvation in the process. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. all Unmuzzled chat warriors and family. You are why I continually show up, even feeling the way I feel. Let's do this screen share here. Okay, here we go. This is the sequel, part 7 from Janet. We love you, hon. Rest in peace. Okay, get a thumbs up. Make sure the sound and the volume comes through.
The United Nations, thought of by millions of people to be a benign organization with only our best interest at heart, turns out to be one of the main engines of the cabal. It is where deals are made, where money is laundered, and where dictators are kept steadily in their seats. The UN works with a multitude of NGOs, some officially under the umbrella of the UN, others more covertly. The term NGO, non-governmental organization, was actually invented by the UN back in 1945.
Interesting.
You will soon understand why. It encompasses charities and non-profits, but also lobby groups for big corporations such as the World Economic Forum. At this moment, 5,500 NGOs have consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. This means they have a formal relationship with the UN and are allowed to participate in the work of the UN. They are all independent from government control and answer to one entity only, the United Nations. Interesting fact in and of itself, don't you think? What we stumbled upon during our research was an enormous cash flow between these NGOs. It seems like they all support each other's work, like one big happy family. Well, that is mostly a sign of money laundering.
Right.
Mind you, there are big names involved here. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Buffett Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Turner Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Clinton Foundation. Big names moving around with bigger amounts of money. Their financial reports seem impeccable, of course, but the money flow gets lost in the abundance of NGOs involved. The non-specific destination of the billions of dollars moved around like grants to recipients. What does that mean? And the existence of alliances of NGOs that makes things even less transparent. Like, for instance, the Fund for Shared Insight, a group of 7 funders, and a pool of financial and other resources to make grants to improve philanthropy. Nice and vague. Let's have a look at the Rockefeller Foundation.
Oh boy, here we go.
Did you know there's also the Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors, the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the Richard Rockefeller Fellowship, the David Rockefeller Fund, the Rockefeller Family Fund, the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, and the Eileen Rockefeller Growell Family Fund? They all move around tidal waves of money, I'm talking billions, often between foundations set up by members of the same family. Not only the Rockefellers show us clearly how to keep it in the family, Warren Buffett is another great example, with the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation, named after Warren's wife, the Sherwood Foundation, set up by their daughter Susan Alice, the Howard G. Buffett Foundation, with their son Howard as chairman and CEO, the Novo Foundation, co-funded by their son Peter and his wife Jennifer, and the Buffett Early Childhood Fund, set up by Warren's daughter again, Susan Alice.
Just wait, I'm sure she'll show us.
Warren Buffett announced that he would, once again, it's sort of an annual thing, be giving 15.9 million Class B shares of his mega company, Berkshire Hathaway, to 5 charities. Take a wild guess. All of these shares, worth $2.9 billion, went to the very same Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation,
Interesting.
the Sherwood Foundation, the Howard G. Buffett Foundation, the Novo Foundation, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Around
the latter is not a big surprise, as Warren Buffett had taken Bill Gates under his wings back in 1991, when his mother set up a meeting between her 37-year-old son and the excessively rich and powerful tycoon, Warren Buffett. A deal was made, and from that moment on, the destinies of Bill and Warren were intertwined forever. More about which soon.
Wow.
Since 2006, Warren Buffett has moved $37 billion in shares to, well, basically his children, without paying a dime of tax. Why don't you try to donate some money to your children without the tax administration stepping in to claim a big chunk?
Oh, God.
By the way, the Buffett Foundation is known for its secrecy, often appearing under grand acknowledgements as an anonymous donor, which is rather strange when it concerns donations of many millions or even billions of dollars, simply unaccounted for.
It's just corrupt infrastructures like this, folks, that continually keep the rich becoming richer and this greater divide. Ever since the pandemic, that was the biggest distribution of wealth in this country, and I believe worldwide. And no longer the majority of the wealth lies within the middle class. It forever did up to that point. So think about that. That divide. It's only going to enrich them, empower them to further divide this two-tiered infrastructure system we're up against, giving us less and less means to even, well, effectively fight back. That's a big deal when you really hone in and think on it. Now, the majority of wealth literally lies in thousands of hands, not tens of thousands, only thousands. When we have hundreds of millions of people, the majority of the wealth is in thousands. Really ponder that. So, and it's corruptly being done. A lot of the actual laws, once again, it's rules for thee, not for me. Why are we allowing them to skate systems to their benefit to further divide when we stinking outnumber them by a vast amount? If we could just see past their division tactics and war tactics and continuously dumbing us down, then by golly, we got a shot. We could unite. There's nowhere they could hide, and we could have all the systems run to our benefits. Collectively, we can create. There isn't a solution, especially through God, we couldn't find resolve to in this existence. So that's why I'm just so amped up to continually show up. Let's just do what we can. Let's continue to create the momentum. I know other individuals that are even more well-spoken than me, more tapped in military service, and they're kicking off more well-funded podcasts that I want to co-promote here in the near future too. Whether that ups more the audience, I don't care. What it's about is outcomes. What it is about is results. That's what we want. And that will lead to less suffering. That will lead to more souls saved and more people falling into their purpose and giving us a shot in, let's say, frankly, winning the war that has been waged on all of us, that is knocking at our doors. In fact, it's beyond that. It's broken entry without warrants into our own homes. That's unacceptable. Our freedoms are entirely at stake. Our free agency that God gave us is entirely at stake, and it is worth fighting for and dying for. So let's just continue to propel this podcast the best to our abilities and bringing more people on Rumble. Grab their phone, download the app for them, click the follow button on UNMUZZLED chat, grab more phones. Let's get more people to follow UNMUZZLED and share these episodes. And then whoever you find motivational to you. And it could be, Charlie Kirk, in my eyes, some of the conversations, some of the things are bigger picture, than a lot of it is playing into the circus. Just a lot of it's playing into the circus. I love some of his godly messages, but even then, the ties to Israel is just like, okay, don't even get me started. But Stu Peters, I'll let you even do your own research and find there's so many amazing individuals out there. Anyway, I'm just rambling. I'm just really amped. Let's create that momentum. We got this. There's nothing more important to do with our time. We were put in this particular time for a reason. Let's freaking show up. Let's go. Love y'all. Let's continue.
But like we said at the intro of this episode, these NGOs, no matter how big and powerful, are independent from government control.
Supposedly.
The Buffett Foundation invests heavily in reproductive health and family planning grants across the world, including substantial investments in abortion and contraceptives.
Not organic movement.
The Buffett Foundation helped finance the development of the abortion drug RU486.
Unbelievable.
Between 2001 and 2014, the foundation contributed over $1.5 billion to abortion-related causes, including at least $427 million to Planned Parenthood and $168 million to the National Abortion Federation.
Evil's bloodlust knows no bounds. And it's so crazy through my naivety in my youth and these magical pills and being irresponsible and kind of being grateful for in my dumb brain, like day after is like, what? Ruling out responsibility in this life and accountability for choices and actions, no matter what, that leads us down a path that is not godly, that is full of sin, and that destroys us. That it seems all innocent, but it leads us down a road where we just go off the rails. We lose control entirely, which leads a life to like emptiness, meaningless, not full of purpose. Sorry, I can sit here and connect all the dots in my brain to an extent. I don't know if I could verbalize them in my current state. So let's continue on.
Remember from part 6 that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gave $89.5 million to Planned Parenthood?
Wow.
Were you shocked when you heard this number? Well, the Buffett Foundation makes the Gates Foundation pale in comparison. It gave Planned Parenthood $427 million.
Smokes, people.
Why are all these most wealthy men alive so obsessed with
It's
killing
a very
babies?
good question. Very good question.
What we discovered upon investigating the largest and most influential NGOs was that they all primarily focus on reproductive health. In our previous episode, we showed you what that really means in practice. Eugenics, depopulation, pillaging less developed countries for their precious minerals, and money laundering.
Wow. This exposes so much. This is so good. Money laundering, the illegal process of concealing the origins of illegally obtained money by passing it through a complex sequence of banking transfers or commercial transactions. The money is then brought back into the legal financial circuit. Wow. That's, if anything, that's the label of our government. They're professional money launderers at this point. I don't know if they got a better label than that. Maybe we'll come up with one later this episode. Let's see.
One of the brilliant moves when it comes to money laundering is the transfer to subsidiaries, also known as child companies, to make things even less transparent. Let's have a look at some examples. Ever heard of Arabella Advisors? Probably not. Yet you should. Here's why. Arabella Advisors is a for-profit consulting company founded in 2005 by former Clinton administration appointee Eric Kessler. According to Arabella's own website, they provide strategic guidance for effective philanthropy.
Wow.
Effective philanthropy, huh? Let's see what that means. Arabella claims to have carried out more than 150 projects for clients that are worth more than $100 billion.
Get out of here.
Not exactly a small fish, right? What else? Arabella manages 4 non-profits. And this is where it gets interesting. The New Venture Fund, the 1630 Fund, the Hopewell Fund, and the Windward Fund. These 4 non-profits serve as accelerators for yet another range of non-profits that, according to several investigative sources, are fake organizations that are little more than a website and a suite address. Now, we dove into Arabella and its 4 minions because we saw them appear time and again in the midst of the giants, such as the Gates Foundation.
How is it we have allowed money for like literally mafia-style ran organizations, whatever you want to call it, but that the wealthy can get away with it? What? I'm pretty sure we could figure out a way in the legal systems to not be sold out so that we could hold them accountable to ensure those are operating to address these issues. Oh gosh, we could equalize out all the system, and no, it's not like a form of socialism or anything, but we shouldn't allow this 2-tiered infrastructure to operate any longer, and it would be worth every second.
Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, etc. As we'd never heard of them before, we decided to look into them. It took many 24/7 weeks.
Wow.
Never before were financial reports so confusing, so non-transparent.
Good job, Janet.
Arabella Advisors and its 4 non-profits use tax regulations to the max, moving money from C3s to C4s, which is more profitable when it comes to tax deductions. Thanks to the pass-through arrangements, funding is passed from one organization to another, making it difficult to trace where a donor's money ends up. As we searched for weeks, our astonishment grew. Then we ran into the work of Capital Research Center. Our findings collaborated with those of their researchers like Hayden Ludwig, who described Arabella as a dark money monster and the left's best-kept secret. Arabella is the left's best-kept secret that proves something money and politics reporters have failed to notice. Non-profits, not the parties, drive our politics.
Oh, wow.
Since Arabella's inception, it's sponsored roughly 340 groups. These fake groups rarely disclose their relationship to Arabella Advisors or any of its 4 in-house non-profits. Nevertheless, many of them accept donations from the public, funds which go to Arabella's non-profits. This system also allows these groups to hide their funders, since it's virtually impossible to trace individual grants to Arabella's 4 non-profits to any particular fake group. These 340 pop-up groups are slick websites posing as grassroots activist groups that can appear and vanish in an instant. Since 2006, this network has pumped a stunning $2.4 billion into politics.
Wow.
Between 2008 and 2018, Arabella's 4 non-profits paid the company nearly $103 million in contracting and management services fees.
Wow.
Interesting money flow, but it gets more interesting. According to various independent researchers, Arabella and its 4 non-profits equal dark money. Dark money is money raised to influence elections. This money is raised by non-profit organizations that do not have to disclose the identity of their donors. In other words, a complete lack of transparency where it concerns millions and millions of dollars, all aimed at one goal and one goal alone: influencing the outcome of elections.
Such a house of cards.
Making sure the Democrats win at all cost. Let's see if we can find any evidence for such a crude accusation, shall we? Let's have a look at Arabella's 4 non-profits. Any clues there to such conspiracy theories? First, there is the 1630 Fund. In 2018, it received massive anonymous donations. It later turned out that $26.7 million had come from the New Venture Fund, one of its sister funds. The 1630 Fund, the 501c4 advocacy wing of Arabella's non-profit network, is a massive dark money group that boosted Democrats in the 2018 midterm elections with $140 million.
Wow.
The 1630 Fund's biggest single donation made anonymously, was for $51.7 million, more than the group had ever raised before in an
Expose
entire
them,
year
Janet.
before President Donald Trump was elected.
Unbelievable.
One of 1613 Fund's projects, or pop-up groups, is Demand Justice, an anti-Trump organization. At the beginning of 2018, Demand Justice did not exist, but given the fear that President Trump would nominate federal judges, Arabella popped it into existence with more than $2.5 million from George Soros's Open Society Foundations. It was the same organization that blasted Justice Brett Kavanaugh during his Supreme Court confirmation. Interesting. What about number 2? The Hopewell Fund. The Hopewell Fund is a 501c3 non-profit created in 2015. It primarily manages pro-abortion projects, including Equity Forward, which attacks the Trump administration for opposing the left-wing abortion agenda.
So this is where we're not even free in our own minds. We are so manipulatable, like malleable in this mortal state. It's one thing to control the information. I mean, now you can kind of see how much money and infrastructure is going behind all of this. But this type of money, I believe it goes beyond the impact solely on the information warfare. It's because the information warfare consists of the social media platforms, the talking heads, the classroom settings from university down to elementaries, right? Golly, even through big business and workplaces, things to that nature. But I believe we're only so malleable through all of that. Like, yes, you control the information, you control the masses to a huge extent. But I do believe a lot of the funds, like it even goes beyond that. And with what I'm dealing with on a biological warfare kind of stage or leg or whatever war tactic you want to label that as. I mean, think about it. For frick's sakes, we live in an age where men believe they could be women. Unbelievable. And tampons in men's bathrooms, menstruating, and all unbelievable. It sheer idiocracy doesn't even biologically make sense. So we gotta be able to acknowledge and recognize all this to really see how unorganic all this is, and find effective ways more so to bring a lot of these people back into being free in their own minds, because they're not. Like, this becomes proof of the World Economic Forum's bold statements of humans are now hackable animals, that they now have the technology to control the masses, and what they're gearing for in the future, that we'll eat bugs, we'll own nothing in 15-minute city and be happy. It's full tyrannical control. And some people are like, nah, that'll never happen. It's right around the corner. Unless we veer off from the direction we're heading. That's just how it is. And I appreciate you, because this is where it's going to start. And we got to continue. There's two major, I feel, key points here that we must fight tooth and nail to maintain. And it's our health and it's freedom of speech. Because we lose our health and we maintain freedom of speech, what does it matter? What does it matter? That's why I see them ramping up the war tactics on our health so greatly right now. That's why I see like that as the number one, close to probably overall the number one most censored topic on tyrannical platforms such as TikTok, Facebook, IG, and the talking heads, and fighting misinformation and Google, all this. But golly, if we maintain our health and we lose this ability right here, well, then all is lost innocence there too. They will continue their tyranny without us knowing, and they will more so have us pre-pandemic, where we were more not in the know and more blindly entrusting in all the things they've invested in standing up. It's interesting that even to this day, too many individuals are still. I was just communicating with a pediatric doctor that still deeply believes in the childhood vaccine schedule. And I sent her a whole bunch of clips and we'll see what she reports back. But it's just like, hey, as long as you stay open to information, there's hope. But the real, more so educated doctors there, they realize these institutions and universities are bought out and owned and paid for and have extreme bias, and it's all about, big profit and not about our health and wellness. So those doctors end up in a remissive state to their indoctrination, and they try to expose it to a degree. We look forward to having more doctors come on the podcast here in the future. But anyway, I need to up my game to where I can handle these interviews and do their coming forward justice. And anyway, I'm ranting a bit much, but there's so much to just really grasp, because wow, Janet just really kind of hit that out of the park, and it kind of gave us at least for me, a path of clarity, hopefully you speak out on, that gave a little more light. Anyway, let's continue. Love you guys.
Okay. What about number 3? The New Venture Fund. The New Venture Fund, located at the same address, the same suite, number 300. A platform for philanthropists. Between 2014 and 18, New Venture Fund received $1.6 billion in donations.
Can't even imagine
alone,
that kind of money.
This was $395 million, for which they hired consultants for a total sum of $28.3 million, of which $90 million went straight back to Arabella Advisors, his mother company. To give you a nice little example, New Venture Fund sponsors its own project, Media Democracy Fund, located at the same address in DC and the exact same suite, number 300.
Interesting.
Media Democracy Fund describes itself as a catalyst for an open, secure, and equitable internet. God knows what that has to do with charity. Well, we can tell you why it was set up in the first place. To push Obama's net neutrality. In other words, to increase the government's control of the internet.
Oh no.
We're talking censorship.
Right. So dangerous.
Media Democracy Fund is run by a few young people with no surnames and no real profile pictures.
Interesting.
Still, since its founding in 2006, it has made more than $34 million.
Holy smokes.
Oh, and surprise, it is supported by the Open Society Foundations of George Soros, the multi-billionaire we showed in part 2 of The Fall of the Cabal, the man responsible for his destabilizing and dividing mega projects.
Can we lock him up?
Innovation, Black Lives Matter.
Let's go. Seize all his funds and put it towards more.
Fund
wow.
Is the interest in America Votes, yet another one of their fake pop-ups. New Venture Fund gave a $2.35 million grant to America Votes in 2018, which is a lot of money for a business that, according to its own website, aims to advance progressive policies and win elections. Win elections? Wow, I mean, that is weird. I thought we were looking at charity funds here.
Right.
Well, obviously not.
Wow.
Oh, a New Venture Fund's sister, the 1630 Fund,
so good.
gave no less than $27 million to America Votes.
Wow.
All you have to do is take a look at who sponsors American Votes. Take a wild guess, my friends. Democratic Attorneys General Association, Democratic Governors Association, Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee, Democrats.com, National Democratic Redistricting Committee.
Really?
Oh, and let's not forget Planned Parenthood.
Wow.
And Stand Up America, committed to resisting Trump's agenda and unrigging the corrupt system that put him in the White House.
Oh my gosh. Projecting everything.
Let's make something clear once and for all.
They do.
First, the corrupt system is exactly what President Trump is fighting.
Yes.
It is the corrupt system that tried to prevent Donald J. Trump from entering the White House.
Right.
Furthermore, whether you like Trump or not is not relevant.
Right.
He is your president. He was elected twice by a majority of the American people. That is called democracy. Now, just because you hate Trump doesn't mean he was put in the White House by mistake. There was no Russian collusion.
Right.
Remember? Years of investigations have gone by in which the Democrats did everything they possibly could think of to get rid of their opponent. Well, guess what? It didn't work. They failed miserably. You want to know why? Because, and I will say this again loud and clear, because Donald J. Trump was elected by the majority of the American people to be their president. That's why. So my question to the Democratic Trump haters out there is, which part of democracy don't you understand? Yeah. The amount of money that is moved around within the limits of the law is staggering. The more we study
not
this
within
topic,
the limits
the
of the
more
law.
we realized that in order to drain the swamp in philanthropy land, laws would have to be rewritten. Over the past 5 years, the David and Lucille Packard Foundation donated no less than $245 million to NGOs working in the area of reproductive health.
Ugh.
Remember these names. They will return again and again. Right. Once you understand who they are and how they play the world stage, moving assets around, dominating national policies, you will never again think of these titans as philanthropists.
Right.
Take Pathfinder. The Pathfinder Fund, fully into reproductive health and family planning, we now know what that means, was founded in 1957 by Clarence Gamble, heir to the Procter & Gamble fortune, an advocate of birth control, forced sterilization of mental patients, and eugenics. Pathfinder received $673 million over the past 5 years to be used for their reproductive health projects.
Golly.
Where did this money come from? Well, their main donors and grantors are the Gates Foundation, the Buffett Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, the Hewlett Foundation, the Packard Foundation, the Ford Foundation, Vanguard, Fidelity, Swap, Tides, Global Health Initiatives, part of the WHO, and USAID, that awarded $970 million to Pathfinder in the form of grants and contracts between 2005 and 2021.
Does anyone break through and not become ingrained into this corruption? It seems like billionaire Elon might be the only one. I mean, he's received a lot of flack and death threats and legal action due to the liberation he's done on X. But there's questionable things he's involved in too regarding putting chips in people's heads. So it's like I want to like him, right? And he's done amazing things, but there's still questionable things. But other than Elon, is there anyone else? Could we put together a list? We so badly need individuals that are in that position to... are they just afraid that they could lose it all because they're up against deeper pockets? Well, imagine if they could gain the support of the masses. It's where I loved Elon's interview of basically telling him to F off to the advertisers and essentially the deep state that, well, we'll see what happens. And it didn't tank X. It seems to be thriving anyway. Interesting. This is very important to grasp all of this. It really helps paint out that infrastructure, doesn't it?
Other donors are the Novo Foundation, Open Society Foundations from George Soros, the Passport Foundation, Robertson Foundation, Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Rockefeller Foundation, and Wellspring Philanthropic Fund. We cannot stress sufficiently to please do your own research. Simply take one of these sheets and dive into these names. Take Fidelity. According to its IRS Form 990 for 2018, Fidelity Investments Charitable Gift Fund moved nearly $107 million to two of Arabella's nonprofits.
So she did bring up a good point on us doing our own research. Like, we got to fire up that willingness to care, to understand, because this is our futures. This is everything at stake against all of this tyranny. And I praise her for stating that, because there's a distinction. The other side that is running on talking points, that's projecting all the evil on Trump or this or that, they're not stating that. They do not want you to do your own research because they don't have all the information under their tyrannical control like they would like to. Only then they would say, oh, do your own research, because they've created enough of all you have access to is their propagandist lies. So there's a big difference between sides not telling you to do your research and telling you how it is, and sides telling you to do your own research. And it is imperative that we do, because this will hit to a certain level. But when in fact you do your own research and you look into and follow the money through any one of these corrupt organizations, it hits on a whole other level and ignites something within us to, wow, really acknowledge the war we are engaged in. And it isn't missiles and bullets at this moment. It truly is through this fake currency and so many other means.
The new venture fund, $73 million. And Hopewell Fund, $34 million. We can, however, assure you that you will get stuck in the spiderweb of C3s and C4s, and that's where you will meet the end of transparency, if it ever was there in the first place.
Wow. Just money laundering.
Even though you get some information through the IRS Form 990, the umbrella company Arabella is a for-profit organization, which means they do not have to fill in a 990 form.
Can I do something?
That's where darkness sets in.
Can I just... I'm sorry. Let's do this. Let's just do this real quick. This was too good. Right here. I got a pot. Oh, I thought it's... We're doing a screen print. Right here. This is just great. This might end up a cover image. Might add more to it. We'll see, but let's continue. This is too good.
Even though you get some information through the IRS Form 990, the umbrella company Arabella is a for-profit organization, which means they do not have to fill in a 990 form.
Oh, precious.
That's where darkness sets in. As in, indeed, dark money.
Holy 17,000 pages. Not even named. Wow. Immense task. Took us many weeks. Janet, bless you.
Let's have a look at the Rockefeller Foundation. I showed the massive power empire of the Rockefellers in my first documentary about the fall of the Cabal, in part 2. Now please bear in mind that the Rockefeller Foundation 990 forms contain between 350 and 400 pages each year.
Wow.
So what we did, after having studied each and every one of them, we narrowed it down for you by highlighting some anomalies, those donations that jumped out for their numbers and or recipients.
So good.
The Rockefeller Foundation gave $666 to the City University
Get
of
out
New
of
York.
here.
Interesting number, associated with the number of the beast.
Right.
Okay, I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right? The Rockefeller Foundation gave $4 million to DataKind,
These people are
an NGO
sick.
for data science, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Open Society Foundations, Microsoft, Rockefeller Foundation, Hewlett Foundation, MasterCard, Google, and others.
Wow.
A data science company? Then it gave $25.7 million to the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. More about this scandalous fraud in part 9. In 2018 alone, the Rockefeller Foundation invested no less than $4.1 billion.
4.1
Most of the money went to
billion.
investment companies such as BlackRock,
Holy
with
smokes.
$4.4 billion in securities apart from charitable purposes.
Let's get
To
them.
cut a long and boring story short, let's put it this way. After God knows how many hours of research into the financial reports of these NGOs, we came to the following conclusions. All charity NGOs, in which millions of dollars are moved around, have nothing to do with charity whatsoever.
Boom.
They are simply the perfect business model for money laundering.
Right.
In spite of the millions or even billions of dollars involved, no tax is paid. The astronomical amounts of money are, apart from being laundered, transferred to support the Democrats and their agendas. Think abortion facilities and other family planning and population control topics.
These are the individuals that want to weaponize the IRS and penny pinch you and I to oblivion while they're doing this. How we are not up in arms and holding these people accountable and actually seeking all the receipts and records for ourselves, that behooves me. Because they're effectively squeezing us more and more and more. More Americans are living paycheck by design. More of us are dealing with ailments and illnesses and sicknesses that are going to keep us from even coming to these conclusions, I myself included. It is, I hope we take it more serious. I mean, otherwise we're going to land ourselves in a future that, I don't even want to imagine. In a huge sense, it is in God's hands. But that doesn't rid us of the role we are to play in this time. After all, he put us in this time. And the responsibilities we have to one another, all God's children, our families, our country, and our futures.
As such, it is the non-profits that drive US policies, not the political parties. Most charity money goes directly to Wall Street, to NASDAQ and other stock exchanges, where it is invested in, well, anything lucrative. Those are projects you do not get access to unless you have a certain clearance level.
Right.
It could range from legal to illegal investments such as drug and human trafficking.
Oh boy.
Arabella helps its clients implement center-left political agendas through sometimes risky programming investments.
Wow.
So, our question to you is this. How do you feel about your donation to charity being used to avoid tax, to be invested in risky programming investments,
Right.
which could be anything, and to go straight to the Democrat Party, either to support a
Right.
presidential election, or to rig one, or to help fund one of their projects such as population control, or any other means or method to facilitate the New World Order? How does that make you feel?
Charities are a hoax,
How can
folks.
it be that these so-called charities don't have to account for so much money,
Right.
both where it came from and where it went to? How can it be that these NGOs that move billions around work from a simple suite?
Wow.
There are countless consultancies involved in charity that are granted millions of dollars to do their work. Why, for heaven's sake? I mean, suppose you advise individuals and companies on how to invest money into charity. Don't you simply get paid for your services by your clients? Why does an Office for Data Science receive millions and millions of dollars? To do what?
Right.
And why is it a non-profit
Good question.
organization?
Well,
Why does it have major sponsors such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Open Society Foundation, Microsoft, Rockefeller Foundation, Hewlett Foundation, MasterCard, Google? Why do these NGOs form alliances in order to improve philanthropy? How hard is it to pick a fund and donate?
to weaponize things under the guise of being good, weaponize it against us. We must be so aware as to any charitable donations we do. Get more direct. Like here, even if you want any transparency or full transparency on the donations, any here, if you want it specifically to go to a thing, I would account for every penny on your behalf. I'm fully engaged and kind of like multiple things, but it encompasses a lot. I want us to achieve the best version of ourselves. So that encompasses a lot right there. And in order to do that, we must secure our future, and that encompasses a lot. So let's rock and roll. Let's keep going.
The more we dove into the subject, the more we realised just how insane this all was. Within the limits of the law, oh yes, but insane and wrong nevertheless. The UN
is a good comment right here. Joe Harkins. Trump is the greatest asset for the deep state. He is a Zionist puppet. They have been building Trump up for the last 30 years. Well, I misread that. I'm not going to lie. However, you bring up great concerns. That's where ultimately, in this moment, do I see anyone versus... We have the choice right now. It would be nice to rule out the whole system, to be honest. I'm actually glad I misread that, because this is important realization and discussion to be had, where we just even playing into the system that is now so corrupted. Red versus blue, left versus right, Democrat versus Republican. It's all so corrupted by these NGOs. Look at this money, folks. We can't even comprehend it. No matter what the outcome, like what we need to be doing right now is assembling as a people for this country to ensure we gain the keys and things are operated on our behalf. And that goes from everything, from spending, from military, from our health systems, everything. Now, if we could put some people in positions and we become the checks and balance, that this is a service position and we ensure that they are not infiltratable, fan-freaking-tastic. I don't see, Joe, it's crucial we unite. It's crucial we participate in the vote so we gain the evidence of a corrupted system. But we did get a breath of fresh air during Trump's last term. There were a lot of amazing things that he in fact did, bringing energy independence, bringing prices down. And if we utilize it, if we bring him back and we got any breath of fresh air, I don't see that happening with Cabal. It'd be full tyranny. So to not play into, so many people will play into, what's being stated there. And I get you. This is where we just need to unite no matter what. But we need accountability. We cannot continue what history would teach us, where continuously egregiously unacceptable outcome after unacceptable outcome takes place, and yet we do nothing. So the time is now. Let's unite. Let's all take our role seriously. Let's get excited to get involved. Your first steps could just be sharing this episode, commenting, liking, could be guesting on this platform. Reach out to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. Be excited. Let's not be disheartened. It is what it is. Hand it over to God. Let's do what we can. Let's show up. Let's just do what we can together. And under him, through unity, anything's achievable. Anything. We can't allow Satan to darken and cloud in our mind as to, just because people aren't showing up, we'll not continually try. Let's just do what we can. I appreciate you all. Thanks for the comment. What a fun rant.
Funds, connected either directly or indirectly, moving billions around, hens and forth, laundering money to their heart's content, investing enormous amounts on the stock market, making more money and even more without ever having to pay a dime of tax. And like I said, they are all independent from government control.
Holy smokes. Janet's really hitting it out of the park. I do not mean to be distracting too much, but simultaneously, the engagement, I love it. And Laura Violet, hit it out of the park. Matthew 24, 34, 40. God has told us God wins regardless if Trump is what Joe says. 100%. We can come from a place of victory. Do not be disheartened. We are just to assemble and unify. It would be amazing with all, there's all this blind allegiances, it seems. It would be great to sit down and have full transparency. We're really unable, it seems, to have that with the level of corruption that exists. There's great threats. For freak's sakes, Joe, and individuals, like, there are multiple attempts on his life. He took a bullet to the ear, like, you can only do so much as one individual, and whether or not you're strategically keeping your friends close and enemies closer to potentially knock out the Samson option, if you know what I'm saying, de-weaponize that strategically. I mean, there's many things we may not know, but ultimately I feel you. I genuinely feel you, and it just keeps circling back to the importance of unifying as we the people. We haven't been loud enough and unified enough that clearly now any of our leaders, like the money, the power, the influence of the corruptors and the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, or even Soros himself, or the operators and everyone, behind Google and everything. It's just like, are you kidding me? We aren't even coming remotely close enough, but we can through unity and numbers easily. Once again, the majority of wealth only lies in thousands. That's it. Yeah, they built out a lot of infrastructure against us for sure, and it's sowing a lot of discord amongst us, that's for sure. But if we can humble ourselves and seek like this type of information, doesn't it make it easier to see past all of that? And now even an argument with an individual that's just, whether you're pro-Trump, anti-Trump, it's just, this is so much bigger in politics, and you can just embrace these individuals and like, look, there's more corruption, and it would be nice to gather the proper amount of information and to really open people's eyes on it without it being political, without it being triggering. It'd be a very difficult task to be had. But once again, that's a big problem because the health, we've been deteriorated, and I believe with the 5G and the frequencies, it's more so putting us in a fight or flight. It's causing inflammation throughout the body. It's causing neurological impacts. So we're more fiery. We're more fight or flight. And we don't have the real ability anymore to properly communicate. So it's kind of embodied why I've embodied the whole unmuzzled chat. We must become more unmuzzled, and we must become have the ability to chat and have a conversation with people. Like, what happened to that? We can agree to disagree on things, but still we should be grateful for each other's time and able to move the needle in a progressive, like a positive direction. But we've lost that. Like, what has caused that? And it's been everything she's highlighting here. It's all this energy that's been put into like the systems and education, all these things for generations now. We have become slaves in our own minds, not just our own country. The whole system's against us. Like, we truly do need to abolish this oppressive, tyrannical government 100% and rule out all the ties, all these ties, 100%. Let's keep going.
And answer to one entity alone, the United Nations. Does this mean all NGOs are bad news? Probably not. I'm sure the smaller ones and the local ones have not been dragged into the dark swamp. I'm sure they do great work, real charity. But the big ones, the ones with the multi-million-dollar sign on them, like Oxfam, that held sex orgies with minors in Haiti? Minors as in children?
Terrible. Better a millstone. Bust out the lynching posts. I know it sounds horrific, but save our children. Unbelievable evil in this world.
like the Red Cross, that after a history of discrimination of black and gay people whom they refused to help during times of despair, collected $500 million for Haiti in 2010 after the devastating earthquake, and used that money to build 6 houses?
Wow.
When you find out how much the presidents of those NGOs make, will you donate money ever again?
Wow.
So, where does all of the above leave us? In a big, sticky, criminal spider web.
Very.
Hungry spiders everywhere. One of those spiders is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yes. 100%.
Follow me to part 8.
Wow. She does fantastic work. I know, like, a lot of the historical, I mean, it's like some of these episodes are for some of you and some aren't. But the more we can absorb, by golly, it really doesn't take any rocket scientist to see the bigger picture here. And it really does boil down to a spiritual battle we are all engaged in. And there's good versus evil. And there's a God here deceiving. And then there's a God willing to show up. I mean, I'll just take a second to testify to the power of prayer. It truly shifted my day and gave the ability to be before you in this moment. Without prayer, I would not be doing this episode. And that may seem trivial, that may seem small, but in a way, that's a miracle that took place in my day, in my life. You could take it how you will. But the power of prayer, clearly, miracles are taking place daily. And God's there to listen. Oh, the sound's off. I'm sorry. Come on. Sorry, my gimp hand.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation does not need much introduction.
Oh my gosh.
Bill Gates is one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world. Let's have a look at the way Mr. Gates is presented to us all.
So evil.
He is the most powerful doctor in the world.
How he's presented. He's a doctor, is he?
He is invited to G20 meetings and all other top-level gatherings, where he is treated like a head of state.
Jeez, freaking nerd.
He is the savior of humanity and the earth.
Wow. How he's viewed.
He is the embodiment of charity.
Unfortunately, some people still believe these deceiving lies.
He is a great example of the American dream.
Oh, God. I drank it for a bit.
He is a wonderful inspiration to us all.
How many of you did? Let's be honest with ourselves. We've all been duped.
Where did this prodigy come from? Bill was born in a wealthy family, a family of influence. His mother, Mary Maxwell Gates, came from a powerful banking family. His father, William Henry Gates Sr., was an attorney. Bill Jr. dropped out of Harvard University. Worried about the future of her son, Mary helped Bill set up Microsoft. She used her IBM connections to set up a deal between IBM and Microsoft.
Interesting. What's up with the sweaters, man?
In 1991, she arranged a meeting between her son and Warren Buffett, the multi-billionaire who took Bill under his wings. Both of Bill's parents were heavily involved in family planning and eugenics.
Of course.
His father served on the board of Planned Parenthood.
Right.
My dad was head of Planned Parenthood, and it was very controversial to be involved with that.
Bill openly and proudly talks about these things and how they were discussed over dinner. From an early age, he was spoon-fed with the ideology of eugenics. In his 30s, Warren Buffett added to this with his enthusiasm on the subject. Buffett's foundation, the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation, is a massive financial supporter of pro-abortion activities and population control policies.
Wow. God, they were so evil. Bunch of freaks.
It is the largest funder of reproductive health and family planning in the world.
Oh, that's precious.
We hope that by now you understand that those are just fancy words for eugenics.
Right. The excellent... Ooh, what was that documentary? I might actually want to...
Rockefeller descendants, as we've shown in our...
Where was that? Okay. Highly recommend. Excellent documentaries made by James Corbett. I want to check that out. I don't know about you, but making the note right now. I apologize. I did not mean to disturb that for you, but it's crucial that we continue this on, and there just might be a couple important connections to be made there. Just enough to break people out of the blind, like he's actually an do-gooder. No, wolf in sheep's clothing. More like a demon in human form.
So, Bill Gates, a Rockefeller descendant, as we've shown in our COVID-19 documentary, was pushed forward with one goal in life and one goal alone. And that was not computer programming. His role in this world was determined by his bloodline. He was to become the face of population control and depopulation within the framework of Agenda 21 and 2030.
Think on that.
Let's have a closer look at the effects of our great benefactor's actions, shall we?
Oh, here we
Between
go.
2000 and 2017, the
Evil.
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation massively enforced their new polio vaccine on the children of India. 500,000 children under the age of 5 became paralyzed.
Dang it. Golly.
The Indian people were furious, and as a result, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was thrown out of the country in 2017.
That's it?
Yet, less than 2 years later, they were allowed back in.
Have Americans even allowed back in? Have we even absorbed that? Why are we letting evil run rampant in this existence? I don't get it. And it's preying on children. Let's go. Muzzle Chat Warriors. Let's blow this episode up. Let's share this far and why Janet is hitting it out of the park.
And India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, was awarded by Bill Gates for his efforts to reach the UN Sustainable Development Goals. There's nothing money can't buy. Isn't it weird?
It can't buy salvation. Nothing in this world is worth selling your soul to a fake currency, or even gold or silver for that matter. It's talked about, it's taught in the Bible. It's nothing new. My heart goes out to these lost souls, but what I do not want to tolerate for another second is the needless suffering on behalf of the innocent lives. We're to get engaged and put a freaking stop to this.
That Gates got the opportunity in the first place to start his polio vaccination campaign in India, when taken into account that back in 2000, it was already known in the US that the oral polio vaccine frequently caused paralysis.
Already known. So intentionally being done.
In the UK, the polio vaccination program was stopped 4 years later, in 2004, because of this proven link between the polio vaccine and paralysis.
Sickening.
Yet, the vaccination program was continued for 13 more years, with devastating effects in India. Nobody said a word. Not the UN, nor the WHO, nor the Dutch RIVM.
And we didn't really know, did we? This should help set the precedence and the alarm on how important information is and the lack of censorship, like free information. We need to abolish the propaganda machines known as traditional news, formerly mainstream media. Abolish them, because they're owned by all these groups perpetuating their lies and their cover-ups 100%.
That was involved in the development of the vaccine. And most certainly not the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Finally, in 2017, when the damage was done, the WHO reluctantly admitted that the global explosion in polio was mostly caused by the mutated polio strains used in vaccines.
Wow.
Let me say this in layman's terms.
Please.
Once there was a nasty virus. The WHO named it the wild polio virus. It paralyzed people, so the WHO asked its minions to create a vaccine, which they did. As a matter of fact, they created two types. One that had to be injected, and one that only needed a few drops into a child's mouth.
Unbelievable.
The droplets, also called the oral polio vaccine, were much cheaper to fabricate. So the poorest African countries got the droplets, and the not-so-poor countries got the ones with the needle. Business is business, right? All seemed well at first, and after many years, in 2020, the WHO and the CDC proudly presented to the world that the wild polio virus had officially been eradicated, killed, murdered, destroyed.
Oh.
Wonderful.
Unbelievable.
But the droplets started causing major problems.
Right. They perpetuated
Why?
it.
Because, according to the WHO, it contained a live, yet weakened, vaccine virus, activating an immune response in the body.
Right.
However, the weakened virus did not die after the body had become immune to polio. It became stronger and started causing mayhem in children. Those who'd had the oral polio vaccine, the apparently harmless little droplets, developed identical symptoms to the original wild polio virus.
Wow.
They got paralyzed.
There's other scientists that lay out the diagram of the polio vaccines actually being released at the point of herd immunity, natural immunity. We were nearing that. It was literally almost entirely fizzled out when all of this kicked off. And it's actually proven that these vaccines perpetuated polio, didn't in fact end polio. But for somehow it's being ingrained into people, oh, polio vaccine like saved us and blah, 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 all this blind trust in polio. Well, of course, because that's what's taught in our institutions that are owned by who? That are funding what? That get money by what? Come on now. Let's stop fooling ourselves. Like, golly, information and knowledge truly does set us free. That's why I love the freaking saying from Socrates. There is one good knowledge and one evil ignorance. And you want to stay ignorant to the deceit? That's not good. And it will lead to evil winning. And when you get the knowledge, well, where does that lead us?
At first, the WHO denied the allegations. It stated that this could only occur very rarely. But then, as the numbers of paralyzed children grew and grew and grew, they admitted it was due to what they called mutated polio strains inside the vaccine. They even gave it a beautiful new name, VDPV, vaccine-derived polio virus. Wow, I'm sure those paralyzed kids are very proud to carry a disease with such a pretty name. Now, please do not despair. As always, the WHO has a solution to everything. As stated on their website, the solution is actually quite simple. Everybody must receive the vaccine.
Let's make sure we vaccinate every child and end all polio for good.
Wow.
The same vaccine droplets, the cheapest ones, of course, the ones that cause paralysis in the first place, must be given to every child under the age of 5. Why? Because of the herd immunity lie.
Wow.
Together, we can stop this virus. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Right.
Was there
Golly, we've
any
been asleep
compensation
too
for the
long.
500,000 paralyzed children? No. Was the Gates Foundation prosecuted?
No.
No. What else? In 2002, the Gates Foundation introduced the Meningitis Vaccine Project, Men AfriVac campaign, in which thousands of African children were force vaccinated. 10% of those children developed paralysis.
10%. Wow.
Local
Lord-
newspapers printed articles about being nothing but guinea pigs for the pharmaceutical industry.
Lord knows what else, futuristically.
Gates's actions were described as ruthless and immoral. Once again, it was clear how the UN's NGOs and the WHO were all in it together. The Meningitis Vaccine Project was a partnership between PATH and the WHO. It was funded with millions of dollars by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Then, in 2009, the Gates Foundation used their NGO called PATH to test their HPV vaccine on 23,000 tribal girls in remote villages in India. The HPV vaccine was said to prevent girls from getting cervical cancer. 1,200 girls had severe and chronic side effects, such as fertility disorders and autoimmune
Freaking
problems.
criminals, man.
7 girls died. Thousands of girls suffered from severe convulsions directly after being vaccinated.
We get experimented on, they profit, and
The
there's
WHO
no
admitted
accountability.
The vaccine could cause convulsions, but stated it would only affect girls with a certain gene, and so it would be quite rare, which totally contradicts this video footage.
Right. Oh my gosh. And people today still blindly trust vaccines. That word is so misused and abused today. It's a weapon. It's a bio weapon. It's not being used to save lives. And if you feel it is, you are being misled. You are uninformed. You, in fact, have been indoctrinated because all the information regarding every single shot that has ever existed, the real undoctored evidence shows otherwise.
I'm Ginny Blessy, and this is my daughter Nia, who's 12. On the 21st of September last year, 2016,
We have the proof.
she had the first
Don't be
HPV
afraid.
vaccination at school. The following morning, she woke up and she couldn't walk on her legs. She couldn't weight bear. Her legs were shaky,
Poor
and she
girl.
had burning in either side of her spine, all the way up her back. But she deteriorated by the afternoon, so we recalled the on-call doctor, who said just go straight to A&E. We took her straight to A&E, and they admitted her for a few days. We've done video diaries right from the first day all the way through up until now, and basically within days, about 10 days of Mia having the vaccination, she completely lost the use of her legs. A couple of weeks after, she lost the use of her body went. So for the last 13 weeks now, she's only been able to blink and speak. She can't use any of her limbs. She's incontinent.
Dang. Come on, folks.
We highly recommend you do some research before having your child get the HPV vaccine.
Any of
There are
them.
quite a few excellent documentaries out there on the devastating effects that ruined the lives of many young girls. The vaccines have been developed by the big pharma giants
Right.
Merck and GlaxoSmithKline. In 2012, this case was taken to court in India. The allegations were pressuring vulnerable village girls into the trial.
Excuse me. So this does date back a couple years. So the evidence with RFK, so many other individuals, they're talking about pulling every single shot off the shelf and doing full proper assessments and investigations on them, because it's proven that a child without any of them is more healthy than with any singular one. And it's indisputable proof. Watch Vaxed 1, Vaxed 2 on BitChute. I've plugged it many times. Maybe I'll go ahead and add it. Vaxed. And so after this fully uploads, I'll add that into the description below. But there's so much more. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So let's not fall prey under the guise of taking care of our children and blindly entrusting without doing our proper research. Proper research isn't just Google, isn't looking at the studies that those doctors were like indoctrinated by. It's the real undoctored evidence, which is there's more information out on that than what they're using to push this level of warfare on our children.
Bullying parents, forging consent forms, and refusing medical care to the injured girls. The case is still in the country's Supreme Court. We are now 9 years later, and nothing has been done yet.
Unbelievable.
If anyone is ever convicted in this case, it will be the researchers involved that were funded by Gates. Gates himself, his foundation, and even PATH and the WHO will, as always, come out with a clean sheet.
See, that's unacceptable. We shouldn't
PATH,
accept
by the
that.
way, is the NGO that is massively funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with $3 billion.
If we would have known all this information prior to the pandemic, how many people wouldn't have gotten that shot and still be with us or not suffering?
Its main focus is on family planning. That is population control, eugenics. PATH was set up in 1977 as PIACT, Program for the Introduction and Adaptation of Contraceptive Technology. 4 years later, it changed its name into PATH. I guess the original name...
It's like people dropped out on my last statement. Don't lie to yourselves. I know people within my life that didn't die from COVID. They died from the murder hospital protocols. That's it. No one died from COVID. Okay? And now I know personally individuals that are fighting for their lives and have died due to the COVID-19, they're labeled vaccine. And when I just talk to other individuals I know closely, every single one I know closely has someone close to them that has also died to the COVID-19 shot. Why are people afraid to speak out on these truths or connect the actual dots or come to terms with maybe the shot you got? Now I'm not spreading judgment on any of those that were manipulated into believing and got that shot. And maybe even to this day, you believe it was good because you don't have any negative effects. And I bless you for that. I'm so glad to hear that. But it's no secret that they couldn't mass produce the actual mRNA, graphene oxide, aluminum riddled bioweapon shot in every single vial, every single batch. There were literally saline batches that went out. So it seems the one that are going untouched had, luckily, the saline solution. A placebo vaccine, if you will. But once again, the actual mRNA one, depending on your body, depending on the actual batch you got, doesn't necessarily mean if you don't have symptoms today, you're out of the woods, because there's ones like that even got the single dose that are reporting years later now symptomatic with myocarditis and heart attacks and neurological dysfunction and infertility, all sorts of issues. So it's paramount for those that got it. It's crucial to have assessments of your blood and all sorts of things, like reach out to Dr. McCullough or look into the researchers out there that are actually providing life-saving solutions that are bringing health back into individuals. All I want to speak out on is ignorance isn't bliss. And we can't continually lie to ourselves and just as though that's going to lead us into, or ignorance, a optimal outcome. Like, that's just, come on. Let's look in the information. It's overwhelming.
Made its population control focus just a little too clear. Oh, and guess what? The HPV vaccine is now available for boys too. I didn't know they have a womb. Oh, wait, here's the official explanation. Boys may get oral cancer from the same virus, like throat cancer. Wow. I mean, you've got to admit, this is absolutely brilliant. Instead of only the girls, Big Pharma now gets to target all the boys as well. That is a 100% market expansion.
Right.
Doubled revenues. Absolutely brilliant marketing. Next, in 2010, the Gates Foundation funded a trial with an experimental malaria vaccine made by GlaxoSmithKline. 1/5 of the children involved in this trial suffered from severe side effects, such as convulsions and paralysis. 1/5! 151 African babies died.
Oh my gosh.
Did you hear about this in the news?
No.
No. Then, in 2014, the Kenya's Catholic Doctors Association accused the WHO of chemically sterilizing millions of women in Kenya.
Like that right there, folks. That captures something. You see that father burying his child. That father, obviously, through that study, through this vaccine, thought, oh, this will be a good thing. This will protect my child, without doing the research. Just blindly entrusting all the infrastructure, that money and display that's gone into it. Oh, of course, this is going to be revolutionary. It's going to be, and look at that outcome. It's so clear. How are we being so deceived? To this day, even. I truly believe the pandemic is the smoking gun above anything else to really hone in on the synagogue of Satan, the evil infrastructure, the corruption, everything. We take that down. It's just going to lead. Oh man, we could clean freaking house, and I'd be very excited to lead the front, lead the charge, whatever needs be. I don't know any other better way in this limited state than what I'm trying to do here. I hope you can get on board with this and magnify our voices by sharing this with everyone you know. If you have any bigger solutions, please reach out personally in a comment or privately on unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. Collectively, we can change things. Let's go. Freaking experiment after experiment. It's unbelievable, this world we live in.
Against their will, by means of a so-called tetanus vaccination program funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Each and every vaccine tested by independent labs contained HCG.
Bill Melinda Gates, horrific outcome. Bill Melinda Gates, horrific outcome, horrific outcome, horrific outcome. No accountability. All these deaths, all this suffering, leading all the way up into the pandemic. And they're just enriching themselves more and more. Yeah, I think it's time we all hold them accountable. There's no immunity for crimes against humanity, infringing upon every single line item of the Nuremberg Code. Like, doesn't history actually mean something to us? Don't words actually mean something to us? Like, don't our lives and our health and our futures mean anything to us? Time to take action. Help us. Share this to the freaking moon and back. Let's go. I'd be willing to walk out on those front lines. If I'm taken out, I just hope that people realize, wow, multitudes could show up. They can't take us all because we're talking thousands. When there's millions of us, there is nothing to fear. Nothing. And if I'm not afraid to lose my life, this is a spiritual warfare at the root of it. And I feel so at peace doing whatever I can. In fact, it's interesting, as I'm showing up and pushing through the own bioweapon that is in my body, it's like God's giving me a little more clarity and ability to even show up on your behalf, kind of healing me. Miracle taking kind of place. Isn't that interesting? Maybe there's more to all that. Maybe the more we all show up and fulfill that, the more blessings will come in our lives. Bigger blessings than money can buy.
Pregnancy hormone that is produced when a woman is pregnant and that causes temporal infertility.
Wow.
After all, when you are pregnant, you don't want to become pregnant again, simultaneously with yet another baby, right? So the production of this hormone is a very intelligent move of the female body to make sure the baby can develop safely in the womb without being hassled by other fetuses. So, HCG causes temporal sterility. Why on earth was it in those tetanus vaccines?
Wow.
What was it doing there?
Right.
Who put it in
Biowarfare. Infertile.
Is this what we are looking at here when we talk about population control and family planning?
Right. No consent.
The Kenyan women who were pregnant upon getting the vaccine were told it would protect their unborn babies against tetanus. They were told they had to get 5 shots at 6 monthly intervals. Their babies never saw the light of day.
Oh my gosh.
They were spontaneously aborted. Interesting detail about this case is that the Kenyan government fervently denied that the vaccine had caused sterilization.
I wonder
President
why.
Uhuru Kenyatta must have followed the money. He does not
Exactly.
exactly have a clean sheet. He stood trial in The Hague for crimes against humanity and was involved in several cases of bribery and corruption. A very easy partner in crime for Gates and the WHO, who have spent millions of dollars paying off corrupt governments of less developed countries to get a carte blanche for their vaccination experiments.
Jeez.
In this particular case, the mainstream media and the notorious fact-checkers still try their utmost best to ridicule and deny this case.
Wow.
Which we fully understand. What do you think will happen to them when all of this gets out into the open?
Well, it's pretty well out in the open. Are we going to do something about it? What are you going to do about it? How many people are you going to share this with? Anybody? Or are you about to tune out? It's all our choice. I'm not here to twist anyone's arm, but you can see these egregious, horrific outcomes, and they're unacceptable. And it's time we not just seek accountability. That's up to God, really, true justice. However, we can end the suffering and breathe life back into the masses. What more noble cause to fight for? Let's go.
In 2017, a research paper was published in multiple scientific journals, once again putting the vaccination trials in a very bad light. In the early 1980s, the WHO's UNICEF performed what they called a natural experiment in an urban community in Guinea-Bissau, a country in West Africa. Babies between 3 and 5 months of
Another
age
one.
were given a DTP vaccination.
Get out of here.
The study showed that vaccinated children had 5-fold higher mortality than unvaccinated children.
Come on. Gosh, man. Wow. Do we need a... Are we reading this? The Bill and Melinda... The Bill Gates effect, whose DTP vaccine killed more children in Africa than the disease it targeted. Sounds a lot like COVID. Unbelievable. Among 3 to 5 month old children having received DTP was associated with mortality hazard ratio of 95%. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of numbers. Not quite grasping that. The negative effect was particularly strong for children who had received DTP only and no OPV. All-cause infant mortality after 3 months of age increased after the introduction of these vaccines. This is biowarfare, folks. Why we continually allowing these freaking globalists and elitists? Well, Bill Gates himself said in that TED Talk that if we do really good job through health services and vaccinations, we actually could lower the population by 10 or 15%. What does that mean? Frick common sense. What does that straight up mean? Straight up. That means they're not helping people. They're not saving lives. That means they're murdering through health services and vaccinations. They're murdering people. And by 10 or 15%, the global, that's genocide. That is crimes against humanity. How are these people free walking the streets? Why don't we properly absorb this? And you don't even have to use the pandemic in and of itself. Look at all these different funded, whatever you want to call them, through the Bill and Melinda Gates and all these other NGOs and organizations. Janet is doing a fantastic job. Is it starting to make sense as to why Janet is no longer with us? It breaks my heart. But my gosh. Why is it a woman's out there willing to die and fight on the front lines when men aren't even willing to do the freaking research, and they're not even knowing, and they're lining up their own children? I am seeing with my own eyes within individuals in my own life the decrease of health amongst their younglings because they're going to public schools, which means they're more, it's unbelievable, abnormal things. It's intentionally being done. The globalists have talked about it. Janet brought up the George Guidestones. There's a lot of others that talk about how world population's an issue. World Economic Forum's part of that. It's no secret. This is intentionally being done, and it's war crime. It's war. We're being killed off. It's our loved ones, and we're okay with. We're just gonna take it because it's silent, and we're not willing to do the freaking research and actually come to terms, reality of the situation. Well, maybe the chemtrails have been too effective. Maybe the fluoride that they pumped into the water since the 50s has become too effective, lowering IQs. Maybe the 5G frequencies is firing us up to where, we're too wrapped up in the bread and circus. Men in tights throwing pigskins around now. That's what people care about. Yeah, that matters in a wartime at all. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to detract, and it seems like we're only going to get through these 2 episodes I'm going to stop talking and continue. Let's go. Let's rock and roll, folks. I love you. Thank you, warriors.
In this natural experiment, vaccinated children had 5-fold higher mortality than not yet DTP vaccinated
Unbelievable.
children. Hence, DTP may be associated with a negative effect on child survival. DTP was associated with increased mortality.
Jeez.
Shocking as this may be in and of itself, the worst was yet to come.
Oh, no.
After all of these things could have been hiccups in the startup of something safe and benign, right?
No.
Well, no. In spite of being aware of these horrid effects, UNICEF continued the DTP program in
Get
Africa.
out.
An unknown number of beautiful babies died. Their parents' lives ruined. But nothing was done, other than burying the data and sweeping it under the carpet.
Wow.
For some reason, black lives don't really seem to matter.
Right.
And billions of dollars are involved. Business is business. Right, Mr. Gates?
Evil.
Okay, we could go on forever about vaccination scandals.
Yes.
And let's not forget the biggest
That
scheme of
picture
all
right
times,
there, by the way.
COVID fraud. We are forever about vaccination
Yeah,
scandals.
this picture, I believe that's everything included. That's what your child's going to be getting by 18. Unbelievable. All unnatural. You could accumulate all the aluminum and graphene oxide, all these toxins, carcinogenic. Like, no wonder we have an epidemic of, you name it. Obesity, all these other issues. Are you freaking kidding me? Diabetes, Alzheimer's, autism. You kidding me? As these rolled out, you can just look at the graphs throughout history. I mean, whatever. The science overwhelmingly shows what this is causing. And it's insane that parents are still believing that, oh yeah, all this is good for my child. Versus your God-given natural state. Unbelievable.
And let's not forget the biggest scheme of all times, the COVID fraud. We highly recommend watching our 4-part documentary about this topic.
Yes.
There will be an update soon, but right now, believe it or not, it is even more important to focus on Gates's other activities, many of which are unknown to the public.
Right.
Once these have been exposed, we guarantee you that nobody will trust this man and any of his vaccines ever again.
I mean, and we're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
Oh my God.
Do you want to know about Bill's obsession with genetically modifying food, African chickens, and even mosquitoes? Do you want to know more about his top-secret connections with the US Army and their biological warfare plans?
Wow.
Ever heard of the infinite possibilities of the nanotechnological unmanned aerial vehicles?
Interesting.
Are you ready to find out just how evil Bill and Melinda Gates, Warren Buffett,
So
the
evil.
WHO, and the UN really are?
Satan's minions.
Follow me to part 9.
Well, folks, let's take a look. Yeah, I had it all queued up. In fact, we're nearing the 2-hour mark. We are going to wrap this one up. I apologize. I really wanted to rock it out, but what a crazy world we live in. Are you afraid to come to terms with it? I mean, the reality of it just is what it is. We can't live in ignorance. So knowledge is good. Ignorance is evil. What do you choose? Ignorance? Evil? The devil? The deceiver? The destroyer? The murderer? It's here to... or a loving creator. This is spiritual warfare. 100%. I told you about my testimony and the power of prayer. It's the only way I was even able to get doing this episode and communicate at all past my mortal abilities. I barely got out of bed today. Yeah, that feels really great. But I'm so grateful for our loving creator. He is there to boost us up, to heal us. I'm so grateful for Jesus Christ paving a way for us all when there was none. I believe in the Bible, the King James Version, and that, this NLT, it's good, but I still biblically mostly bounce scriptures back and forth from King James to NLT, but NLT closely, it just makes it a little easier to read. Folks, I am so grateful for each and every one of you. I do not want you for a second to discredit yourself and the impact you can have. I challenge more to come on and bear their testimonies, whether it's of God or of what they found out in this existence. We must unite. The time is now. What other more important things are there to engage in this warfare we find ourselves in? We didn't ask for this, but it's here. So what are we going to do with it? I love you. I wish the best for you. That's why I continually show up here. If you want to check out any of our affiliations, just check the links below. If you want to attribute to what I'm trying to do here, you can throw funds at the Buy Me a Coffee link, the GoFundMe, the Venmo, the Cash App. Every little bit counts. I say it anyways. Not many have come forward, but some have. And every now and then, it's appreciated. But I won't lie. This is more so just 100% sacrifice on my end. But I can't imagine doing anything else because I care so much about you and I care so much about our future. That's what it's all about. That being said, may our loving Creator bless you this wonderful evening. And until next time, take care.